Hi, so we're Team Oculus Fiber. I'm a creative technologist or something like that. Greg is a developer. I'm an artist. I'm a 3D artist. Yeah, so we came together to put together something that would give you a kind of microscopic architectural tour of fabric in the Oculus. We thought really hard about what it meant to use new technology and actually do something new with it that you couldn't do before. And one of the things that came up was, well, you can kind of go to every place that already exists in the world, but you can't really go to microscopic worlds. And we were thinking really hard about how this could affect the fashion industry, how it could affect display, how it could affect the prototyping of garments. So basically, we're researching towards how feasible it is to go from a 2D microscopic image to a 3D model, which could be explored as if you were walking on top of your textiles. And some of the questions that came up were, what does it mean to, as a person, scale down to that size? What does it mean when your clothes are suddenly much bigger than you? What does that mean for the experience? And also, what do you learn about fabric, and does that really translate to anybody who's not into fabrics? And what was unique about our approach was, besides exploring these questions, was we weren't trying to make something look like fabric visually. We're trying to read an image as data and use that data to get down to the yarn level and not just kind of simulate the look of fabric. We wanted to mimic that at the yarn level and then generate what fabric would look like macroscopically from there.
Okay, so we knew that we wanted to get very close to the fabric, so we first investigated some microscopy techniques. We used USB microscopes and 3D printed microscopes. And these next three steps cover our attempts at making a 3D model from these photographs. We tried making a depth map from a focus stack of photographs of the fabric, and then we manually modeled what the threads of the fabric might look like using Maya. And we also tried to algorithmically generate a 3D model of the fabric using parametric modeling techniques. And then our last step was generating an immersive 3D environment using Oculus Rift so that a user could explore what this fabric looks like up close.
As Greg mentioned, the starting place was basically figuring out what kind of microscope we needed to use and what sort of images we needed to capture in order to get the data that we wanted. So we tried a lot of different things, and it was definitely a process of trial and error and failure and another failure. So first we thought, what if you could take your iPhone and make it into a microscopic camera? So we 3D printed these little clips and ordered these magnification beads to basically clip this little thing onto your iPhone and be able to see this whole new world. So this is kind of what it would look like. It actually didn't work. It was kind of too good to be true. And basically we just weren't using a high precision enough 3D printer, and the tolerance of the material was wrong, so the beads didn't sit in the clip the way that we needed them to. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and we thought, okay, what are some other cheap, easy ways that we can get these images where you don't need access to expensive equipment or expertise? So we found a USB microscope that we ordered on Amazon. It's pretty inexpensive. It gave us a range of magnification, and we were able to get a range of images of different fabrics. So these were all taken with the USB microscope, and this, you can see here, is the really high magnification. So yeah, we were thinking through what level of magnification we needed, what resolution we needed, and it was a lot of experimenting. So the first thing that we tried to do was to go from a 2D image to a 3D model. And here's a glimpse of one of our first failed attempts. So we kind of, after this, again, went back to our drawing board and said, how are we going to generate what we need to generate? Which brings us to...
So I started with generating the values with using bump maps, projecting the bump maps on the 3D surface, and this is the result I got. But then looking for a better way to recreate the fabric, I started to work with paintbrush tool and her system, and I rendered the image with Arnold, and as you can see, I had a great result. And I also tried to work with V-Ray Fair tool, and that it was rendered in Maya, and we had a great result, like with perfect detail. But then the challenge was the conversation between Maya and Unity 3D, because we knew that we were going to use Unity 3D. So I couldn't make it work between the programs, because as soon as I dumped the model inside Unity, I would lose all those details. So I was kind of forced to go back to the first technique I used. So I modeled a bunch of fabrications, and I picked the best one, and we liked it. So just for the sake of having a better experience for the user, I created a tube, so you can see the fabric in 360, 100 degree as you walk through it.
Sure. Yeah, so we also explored parametric modeling, because part of it was to be able to automate a system. We found that there's super complex research out there that would read the fabric as data, but it was so complicated that there's no trivial way to plug all of the equations from this paper into a 3D system that made sense for this type of exploration. And so that was one of our main challenges, was automating this system. And also there was a lot of time spent just getting the hardware working and saying hello world with Oculus. So we did kind of split up into teams and approach different parts of this problem. Yeah, so we also ended up with questions like how does this viably attach to a commercial tool set? We thought, okay, we have Maya, we have Blender, one of those will be able to handle what we need to do. And we found there was even if we spent a lot of money, there was no way to easily plug this in and get the models that we needed. But yeah, we also found that when we first got something really, really small and showed people the difference between what that looked like in the modeling software and in the Oculus and what it looked like if you're looking at the fabric, that they were excited by it, they learned something from it, and they were intuitively interested in knowing more about the structures of what they're wearing. So yeah, thank you.